Sorry, my entire port died because I spilled water on it.
Should I? What, you spilled water on your keyboard?
You know, like you have like a thing that combines a lot of ports. Like I have
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that's like
yeah.
for four. I spilled it on that.
Oh, that's a lot less bad at least.
Yeah, it's like four things like were attached to it.
Did you unplug it in time?
What do you mean?
Well, so typically it's fine to get water on most electronics as long as you don't turn it on. Like if the electricity runs while the water's on it, it might fry something. But if it's off and it gets a little wet, it won't usually die.
No, it was on the whole time.
Did you unplug it?
Just
or did
now.
you just try and dry it off and... So this is a not very commonly known thing, guys. You can actually get most electronics wet as long as you don't run a current through them. Shut up. No, that's true. Guys, listen, I used to be... I mean, it's hard to believe. I was a software developer, but that's not directly with hardware. But I know a lot about it. As long as you don't run a current through it, like if you go to a factory where they build computers, and I've been to one, they wash the parts with water. It's not, well, actually they don't use water. They use non-conductive. Anyway, point is, you can get it wet as long as you're not running electricity through it.
Yeah, we win.
And you fully dry it off before you run electricity
That was a
through
mouse
it.
problem, so I went upstairs to get
I
another
actually
mouse.
wash my
Came back
keyboard
and the mouse
in my
didn't work.
shower. Like, and
That's
I've
how I
done it for
realized it was
years.
my keyboard
There's
and my
nothing
mouse
wrong with
approach.
that. As long as you fully dry it before you use it again. And by fully dry it, I mean make sure even the inside is dry, everything. And I've never had any keyboard break. I've been doing it for years. People think it's crazy, because it is crazy. If you mess up, you'll ruin your keyboard. But you just got to make sure it's fully dried and it's perfectly fine. It won't destroy it as long as you don't electrify it before it's dried. And it's really tricky because you might dry the front of the keyboard, you might drive all around it, but then there's like a little drip of water on the inside that didn't really dry to because you couldn't get to that spot. And then you ruin your keyboard. So you do have to be very, very careful. It's not something you can do. Typically what I'll do is I'll wash it, and then I'll dry it as best I can, and then leave it out to dry for like a day or 2 days, or maybe even longer, before I even think about using it again. And I have 2 keyboards. If you only have 1 keyboard, it's a little bit tougher, because you have to wait a long time if you want to be safe to let it fully dry out. But I recommend just using a hairdryer sometimes on the very low heat setting, or no heat at all, and then just leaving it to dry for a long time. Anyway, depends on what tech it is. It actually doesn't. If there's 0 electricity involved, then you'll probably be fine for the most part. Now, depending on what it is, if it's a laptop, I think it's pretty hard to remove the battery, so that's probably almost never going to work. And for example, most Apple iPads and laptops, the battery's not even removable. Some laptops let you remove it, but theirs are actually glued in. And that's because well, the theory for some people is Apple doesn't want you replacing the battery. They want you to buy a brand new iPad. Don't know if that's true or not. That's the crazy theory. Could be true. But long story short, a lot of electronics, you just can't even take it out. But trust me, guys, I worked in the tech industry for quite a while. It's pretty safe to do that. But I will say this, if you don't really know what you're doing, don't even try it, probably. It's better to not try it if you're not very certain of what you're doing.
They gave me bread, and they